Hey guys, how's it going? It's John. In this video, I'll be reviewing the 150-in-1 NES cartridge. It's called the Super Games cart. I paid only 50 bucks for this, which if you break it down, it's only like 33 cents a game. And a lot of the games included in this cartridge, are actually harder to find NES games. Now, I'm a gamer first and foremost, so this is convenient for me, but I'm also a collector. So on the collecting side of things, I definitely prefer the physical cart. This is not going to impede me from wanting to go out and buy those games, for example. But it's really nice and convenient to have it as a gamer to play, and sure, I can probably load it on ROM and play on my computer, but I prefer playing on an actual cartridge. There are flash carts out there too you can get and load ROMs. Those are about 2 to 3 times the cost of this cart. A lot more convenient than this, but still for 50 bucks, you really can't go wrong. So I'm going to show you this. The cart itself, you can actually tell it's a new mold. It's not painted red, it's not spray painted red. You actually can tell it's actually molded red, which is really nice. Good quality cart, comes with screws, of course, and all that. And the label, it's hard to see on that video, but it's got kind of a, if you hit it light a certain way, it's got kind of a sparkle to it, which is kind of pretty. But anyway, I'm going to show you, let's take a closer look at this game. Before I do that, though, one thing I'm starting to do is ask questions, and I'm going to start highlighting answers that I read through the comments section. And in my next video, I'll highlight an answer for you guys. But anyway, one of my previous videos, I did a review on an Intellivision game called Boulder Dash. And in that video, I asked you guys, what new Intellivision game would you like to see for the Intellivision? And Enemy Zor, I believe that's how he pronounces it, actually recommended Bomberman, which actually would be a really good game for the Intellivision. It's one of my favorite games, so great answer on that. But there are a lot of great answers. So in this video, I'm going to ask this question, and I hope you guys answer and reply below. What NES game would you like to see included in this list that may not be on here? Okay? And please leave a comment, and then I'll read through those, and I'll highlight one and post it in a future video. Thanks for watching, guys. Let's take a closer look. Thanks.
Okay, here's the list. It has Rockman 1 through 6. On the label of the cart, it has it says Rockman 1 through 7, which is obviously a typo. Rockman, for those who don't know, it's actually Megaman. It's just called Rockman in Japan on the Famicom. Ninja Turtles 4 is Tournament Fighters, which is a hard game to find for the NES. Dr. Mario's Classic. Ninja Gaiden 1 through 3, or Ninja Gaiden, however you want to pronounce it. Adventure Island 1 through 4. Fourth one was never released on the NES. It was released on the Famicom. Chip 'n Dale 1 and 2. The second one is actually pretty hard to find. Flintstones Surprise at Dino Peak is on here, which is probably an $800 game, loose, believe it or not. Pretty hard to find. Felix the Cat. Some other ones, Bucky O'Hare. Mighty Final Fight, Tom and Jerry, Goonies 1 wasn't released on the NES, but released on the Famicom. So it's pretty cool that there's some games here that on this list that you won't be able to play normally on your NES, which I think is sweet. Of course, the last two are the shooting games like Duck Hunt. So I'm going to highlight some games. Of course, I don't have time to show you every single game here on the list, but I'm going to highlight a few here that I like. I think kind of unique. This is Tournament Fighters. I believe this is the only actual fighting game released on the NES. I'm not referring to like a beat 'em up game. I'm referring to like a head-to-head fighting game. And this is one of the later releases games for the NES. This game is also ported to the Super Nintendo and Genesis. Much better ports on the 16-bit consoles, but with 2 buttons, A and B, it's kind of hard to create a good quality fighting game. You can only really play as 4 turtles in this version, whereas the 16-bit versions of the game you can play as other characters as well. The next game I'm going to show you is actually Contra Force, which is another harder, more unique game to find for the NES. Initially, this wasn't going to be a Contra game, but Konami decided to slap on the Contra name label and play similar to Contra. You can choose between 4 different characters. They all have different weapon abilities, and it is a challenging game like the other Contra games for sure. This guy has like a bazooka he can use. Doesn't shoot very far, but it's a pretty powerful weapon. I want to show you some of the, some games have glitches, like in the title screen, like here's Mario 3. Like you don't see Super Mario Brothers, so I just want to point that out, which I thought was kind of unique. This is Flintstones Surprise at Dino Peak, and this is, like I mentioned before, a really hard game to find. Looking at like loose $800, and it's a platforming game. It's kind of bizarre jumping on different things here and getting used to the play mechanic, but graphically it's pretty good. I do like the music of this game. It's definitely one to check out. Is it worth the $800 price tag? Probably not, unless you're a diehard NES collector for sure. Felix the Cat, I wanted to highlight this game. This is by Hudson Soft, and this is actually a really fun platforming game, kind of overlooked. It's a hidden gem for sure for me for the NES, and just graphically it's a lot of fun. You play as Felix, you get this kind of interesting boxing glove as a weapon, and it's actually a lot of fun. Some of the graphics sprites kind of remind me of Kirby there with the tree for sure, but this is definitely one to check out for a platforming game. I think this game will probably cost you around, for a loose cart, maybe around $50 to $60. Here's another great platforming game that I think is a hidden gem for the NES, and that's Bucky O'Hare. This is another cart that's going to probably cost you about 50 or 60 bucks, maybe a little bit more, but it's definitely one to look into getting because graphically it's great, the music's awesome, and it's a really fun game. It kind of reminds me graphically a little bit of Battletoads. This is another series that actually started off kind of like similar to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in the sense that it started off as a comic book, had TV series and action figure line. Wasn't as successful as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but this is a great platforming game. And similar to Megaman, you have these power-ups you can hold. You can do like a super jump. It's pretty cool. It's been another great Capcom game I want to pinpoint to you, and that's Mighty Final Fight. You choose between 3 characters, Cody, Guy, or Hagar. And this is a great beat 'em up. If you enjoy the Final Fight series for like the Super Nintendo, the arcade even, this is kind of a unique game. River City Ransom kind of reminds me of graphically of that, just very cartoony graphics, and it's a really fun game. Check out Mighty Final Fight. Goonies 1, never ported to the NES, came out for the Toys Choice 10 in the arcade in North America, which I own, and this is a really fun game. Graphically it's not as good as the second Goonies 2, but nevertheless a great soundtrack, and you can collect these keys and unlock doors and avoid these mice, and kind of unique gameplay. It plays very similar to Goonies 2 for the NES. It does have Tetris, but they call it Tetris 2, and this is actually the Tengen/Atari version of Tetris, not the Nintendo. I actually prefer this version over the Nintendo version. So that's kind of a quick list of games. Let me know what you guys think.
So overall, really this cartridge is not too bad. Loads pretty good, outside of maybe taking away some of the title screens here and there on some games. It doesn't really take away from any of the gameplay value. So overall, I do recommend this cartridge. Only thing is, as a collector, I think it's kind of lame. I definitely prefer to have the physical carts, but for me, it's not going to affect my collecting ability. But I think for some people, they might buy this and say, I don't need those other games, which I think is really a shame because it's really cool to have the actual original cartridge, in my personal opinion. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you guys soon. Take care and game on.
First off, guys, thank you so much for watching. Also, please subscribe. That means a lot. And if you want to stay in contact, you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I also have a website, Gamester81.com, and I have t-shirts available that help support the show as well. And those are available at chopchopgoods.com.